So my name is Florent Salendres and I'm a senior consultant for Symphony Venture. Recently became Symphony Sykes company. I'll be discussing UiPath and all its aspects. UiPath is a robotic process automation software which basically help enterprises to automate their workflow. Well, UiPath is bringing into the table a totally new way to automate things. Automation is not something new, but UiPath allows you to automate very easily and with much lower technical skill requirements. RPA can improve enterprises' workflow by automating repetitive tasks, time-consuming and basically value-adding tasks, but which can be automated. We are a partner of UiPath and we are a consulting company, so basically we will do mostly consulting, we will sell knowledge, but we also have other offerings like managed services, everything which is around RPA. We are a pure play company, meaning that we only do RPA and we are specialized on that. I am personally very supportive of the new trend, which is the attended automation. I think that the new strategy of UiPath, the automation first strategy, is very promising because currently what RPA was doing, it was starting from the process, a business process to automate repetitive tasks to bring ROI, right? Right now, I can see clearly the strategy of UiPath to start from people and willing to improve them, to augment the efficiency. This is totally new, it's very exciting. Well, the product itself is reliable. UiPath is a fast-growing company, I'm sure you know that, right? So it's incredible how they have grown over time. I do remember starting 2 years ago with UiPath, and it was maybe 500, 400 people company. I know it's very big. So the product is stable, they really improve it, they are very quick on resolving any issue, they are very helped by the community. On the other hand, RPA is not necessarily something easy. You need expertise, right, to do it properly. But UiPath is giving all the resources to make this happen with their academy notably, and soon with their academic program. The UiPath product is the orchestrator and the robots make something scalable. If today I'm automating a process in my laptop, I can publish it to the orchestrator and propagate it in several desktops, for example, in terms of attended automation. You have another way to scale. You might have a process. You develop a robot which will consume transactions, and the UiPath product is scalable because you can have more robots. For example, if you have a peak, this is very useful, for example, in accounting closing period. This is you might need to scale. You might not need all the resources during the month, but at the end of the month, you will need to do the closing, right, for accounting, and you can scale for those few days, which are critical. Well, UiPath has always been they're exceptional on how they support their customer. I mean, it is a great technology company, but they are also customer focused. We often encounter issue on client side, and I just have to drop an email, and during the day I have an answer and a meeting invitation to help our customer, to help us to understand, to show us new features. They've always been very exceptional on that. Well, if you compare it depends to what you compare it. If you compare it to coding, this is much easier to get into it. For example, I'm today rather a technical person. But what if I told you, like 5 years ago, I was working in a call center. I discovered that I can automate things with Excel VBA, right? And today, I learned how to code a little bit, and then I'm using UiPath. I'm automating for many companies, like top 1,014 companies. And if you are looking to learn about UiPath, you will have the resources for that. You can get into it. This is quite intuitive. If you compare it to its competitors, I would say, and I got also the feedback from my customers, right, our customers at Symphony, UiPath is the one which is the more accessible. Some of them are willing to target a Citrix automation process, so something like having underlying application hosted on Citrix. Well, once again, UiPath is a good tool for that because, as you probably know, UiPath was first a computer vision company. They have exceptional image recognition engine. They also partner with Abby. They integrate very easily with OCR. It is quite user-friendly to automate that. Of course, Citrix automation is something complicated. This is something a little volatile, but UiPath, I think, is one of the best, if the best, on the market to do that. I met a lot of customers which actually didn't have like big business processes, because RP is very good if you standardize, if you do some process redesign, right? And you have a big process to automate to bring ROI with an unattended solution. But some of our customers are rather small. They have fragmented processes and they need to automate some tasks, but sometimes they are not big enough to justify the investment on the infrastructure and everything around, right? And attended automation will allow to target smaller opportunities, right? And this is something which is very appreciated by the customer, to do something small, to grow incrementally. And then you can scale. It's not a problem. So attended automation is definitely something that the customer wanted, and I think UiPath understood that. The attended automation was possible before, but was very reduced and not focused on. If you look even on the academic content of UiPath, there is not much of attended. If you look on the advanced training is about having back office robots, having unattended robots to consume transaction. I'm really looking forward to seeing very enterprise grade attended content. I think this will be very something interesting. So the feature was existing, but I think now it will explode. Well, this is actually, we have many customers, and they are like from different sizes and they are doing different things. Yes, we have seen ROI. We have seen very big ROI, going from like 1 to 10 FTEs even, with a very strong solution with a short amount of time. I remember doing a project in Denmark which would be equivalent of about 5 FTEs in less than a month of development, right? Of development and everything around. And then the solution was going into production. Well, the thing with RPA is that it's not that easy. It's more important to support the solution correctly, to handle something called change management, because you might have saves now, right? You might have saved something, but you need to wait and you need to maintain the solution. Like a customer must not underestimate the cost of the maintenance. RPA is not silver bullet. Yes, I have seen that happening. Actually, I have a very funny example is that it was about quality check, right? So the end user would send an email and would get a reply within 1 minute about 50 or something business rule to check if they are, if the quality of the case is valid or not, right? And very quickly during development, it was very painful to test all of this. But there was a point where actually you see the robot becoming smarter than the human. The subject matter expert was seeing the result of the robot, and the developer were looking at the solution, at the code, and saying, no, the code is working fine. And the SME was looking at this, and well, actually this is right. The robot does better than me now. And the solution I was mentioning about, definitely, actually this one, I think it's a very specific solution, because we take a very time-consuming back office process with a very slow system. And rather than using the user interface for that, we obtain the data from the backend using an SQL query there. So let's imagine an application with several tabs, with a lot of data there of different type. The loading, even a tab, was taking between 5 and 10 seconds. UiPath allowed with its database activity to get the SQL to obtain the data directly. So just getting the data without analyzing was taking the end user like several minutes, and 10 seconds for an SQL query to get all the data. Then you can do the checks. So this was incredible. Actually, the task was estimated at like 10 minutes, about 10 minutes, and the robot was doing 10 seconds. I will not lie to you, this is extremely rare that we do like that, right? That we have something like that, but I had the chance to work on something like that, where the customer was not believing that. That's how fast is that? I will be honest with you, UiPath is a very fast-growing company, and I cannot pretend to be as proficient in UiPath as other RPA tools, right? However, I know I had feedback from my peers, feedback from customer, which has done proof of concept about that. And I think what makes UiPath better is not only the technology. For me, they have better tech, but it's not only about that. The first thing is they are a very open company. They are very open to customers. If they have a community version that you can download for free, if I'm telling you now, you can go in home and, try UiPath yourself. You have some content to learn about it. I don't think this is as easy to do it with the other vendors, the other tools, right? So this is the main thing, why they are better. Then you have the tech. I talked before about the computer vision and the image recognition. I think very early UiPath has a very big advantage out of that. Also, they have their core. The core of the product is basically, if we very simplify it, is the studio and the robot, right? And then the orchestrator, which is a web application. Most of the competitors did not pick the web approach, right? If you're a bit familiar with the technology, you know, you would rather use a web application. Then now on my phone, I can go to the orchestrator and start a job. This is not possible for other competitors, as far as I know. I would give it 9 because perfection does not exist, but they can still try to do it, to reach it.